Wait, what are we doing?
Motivation to do podcasts.
Dude, actually, we should change the whole episode to just be motivation to do the podcast.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. You know what? I'd actually have a lot more motivation if you would subscribe. So make sure to click that subscribe button. I don't know if there's a subscribe button on like Spotify and Apple Music. I have no, but if there is a subscribe button, you should hit it. Hello and welcome to the Disc Dog Pod. I'm your host, Kirby McIlveen, and this is my co-host,
Jeff Hill, in the house, bro.
Yep. And what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about motivation.
Motivation?
Motivation.
I can't even say it wrong. I can only say it right.
Yes, well, motivation for practicing, and that's a lot of different things. That's practicing by yourself, with your dog, different things, training new tricks, practicing your throws, and a little bit probably also the working out kind of thing, because that goes along with it as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my motivation is if I don't play for a couple days, then, you know, Sora and the rest of the dogs start bringing me stuff to throw, and that's it. Podcast done. Yep. I mean, that's really it.
Yeah. They start destroying the house. If you don't
that's true.
Do it.
Somebody's going to destroy the house. You're not going to have a couch anymore. The rugs are going to be gone. So that's a big motivating factor, is that, you know, like Flair might set the house on fire if I don't do something with her. But yeah, so talking for real now. For
realsies, though, there are some real reasons to get motivation or you know, how do we find it? How do we find the motivation to be able to put in all these hours that we do?
Right.
Endless hours.
Yeah, endless hours. Sleepless nights, dreaming about it.
Thinking about it.
Thing. I think, you know, I think playing with the dogs and stuff, I don't think that's as hard to find motivation for. And I think most of you all that are playing can agree, because we all play for the dogs. I mean, you know, that's really the fun part. If I just wanted to go throw a Frisbee, I'd be doing disc golf. So really the joy is the playing with the dogs part. So I don't think there's as much difficulty finding motivation to play with the dogs.
I would agree that's definitely a lot of fun. It could be maybe a little bit more motivation needed to do freestyle, especially if you're going to do your whole routine or something like that.
Sure. You
got to have a little bit more dedication.
You might have to get your vest out.
Yes, you have to. There's a lot more involved. You got to be prepared. You can't just go out and do your routine. You have to think about it. You got to make sure you're ready to do it. But not necessarily practicing freestyle with your dog and just working on a sequence or a new throw or something with them. That's something that's maybe a little bit easier to get motivated for, because you're just doing one simple little thing, maybe just working on a sequence,
right, or
a trick. And a lot of times that's a lot of fun. A new trick with the dog. You have a young dog and you're teaching them a dog catch or something like that. That's so much fun. Or
when they're learning something new. Yeah, it's definitely motivating. Especially like, okay, yesterday they almost got it, and today, now we're gonna get it.
Yeah, or a young dog just learning how to catch. I mean, that's always so fun when they get their first catch, and then they start getting more and more catches.
You're almost too motivated, where it's like, no, the dog actually needs a break. So like, hold off, wait till tomorrow to do another session.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing to find motivation for is practicing by ourselves. I think that's probably the main portion of it. I think
that, along with, like you said, the physical training aspect, the kind of cross-training type stuff.
Yeah, so I think we'll focus mostly on things not involving the dog directly.
Yes.
And so...
because we all love playing with the dogs, so that's an easy one.
Do you want to start off with one of them and start talking about...
Yeah, like finding motivation. I mean, for me, you know, I'm not really like a Frisbee person. I never was. I was never really into human sports or the human athleticism side of anything. I mean, the reason I'm out there doing anything is because of the dogs. So for me, I feel like, you know, it's always been my perspective that my dogs have been better than me. And, you know, starting out with Sketch, who was one of the best catching dogs all time, you know, that definitely put that pressure on me a little bit from the beginning, that anytime there was a screw up or a miss, it was my fault. And I kind of felt like I was letting him down by throwing poorly. So I was like, oh shoot. And all of the times that I would throw poorly and he would catch it, I was like, wow, this dog is really something special. I should put work in on my side to make sure I'm giving him back what he's giving me, because he's just so spectacularly talented. I've got to catch up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we've said this many times. Our dogs, every one of them, have been way better than us. And
yeah, even Flair.
And
Just kidding.
And I would venture to say, everyone out there, your dogs are all probably better than you as well.
Yeah.
If not, maybe you need to admit that to yourself. But
yes.
you have to give them all the credit. And then that gives you that motivation to try to catch them, try to be as good as them. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm trying my best to be as good as I can possibly be for them, because they deserve it.
I have a quick little point about, the dog being better than you and that being your motivating factor. I think sometimes people will look at it a little bit too realistically and a little bit too objectively. And my example of this would be my dog Blitz, which if you ever watch her, she's probably like if you had to rank my dogs besides like Evie and my other little dogs that don't play at all, Blitz is probably down near the bottom as far as like her ability and skill level and stuff. But I never felt that Blitz was like below me in her skill level. To me, I always read her lack of abilities in some areas to be a weakness on my part. And that if I'm going to succeed with Blitz, I need to be better so that I can show off what she has to give. Because what ended up happening is she did have a lot to give. I had to find the way to get her to show that, though. And that really came from me practicing my throws, making sure they were perfect, and throwing the way that she wanted to, play. So that's just something, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, actually, my dog really can't catch. My dog isn't saving me. That's not really what we're saying here. We're your dog is better than you.
Absolutely. And the same thing with Punky. I'll joke around a lot. He can't catch anything and he struggles. And yet you will see me go out there if he's the only dog I have that I'm playing that day, for example, at like a last chance qualifier. A lot of times I've entered him. And whenever I go out there, almost every single time we qualify, because I put all of my focus into him that day. He has all of my attention. And whenever I do that, wow, Punky looks pretty darn good. But to do that every single competition, when I have my other dogs I also need to focus on, I can't.
It's really hard to divide your attention, for sure.
I can't do it as well. And the other dogs are, no matter what, if I'm playing with more than one dog, my attention is being divided. Well, the other dogs are still able to succeed because they're just that good. Whereas Punky, he needs a little bit more help. And it's on me because he's better than me. If I put the disc in the right place, he will catch it basically every single time. Mm-hmm. And for me to put it in that spot, it's extremely difficult, and I'm not able to be perfect like that. I can't do that, especially on toss and fetch. Throwing a disc and having it within a window this big at 40 yards, it's the size of the disc basically, is extremely difficult. Yeah. However, if you do that, he catches it. That means it's on me.
Yep.
And so it is my fault.
Well, and you talk about this with Punky, but I feel like, my journey with Torch was very similar.
Yep.
And, Torch's success is like really, really high. I mean, if you look at the championships that he's won, he's most certainly one of the greatest dogs of all time, if not the greatest. And I think some people would maybe be surprised to know that my journey with Torch is very much like you're saying with Punky. It has to be in this very small window where Torch can catch it, because that's not like his skill, but he's better than me in a lot of ways. And he made up for it in other ways for sure. But that was very motivating for me to practice, because I was like, wow, if I put it in the right spot every time, he will catch it and he will nail it. And that will show Torch's best side. And,
and I've seen that best side many, many, many times.
Well, we live not that far from each other. So.
And something interesting is that a lot of people, this is just a little side thing, but a lot of people seem surprised when I tell them how close I am with Punky, like my relationship with him, that we are tight. You see this on like a daily basis, where I'm very, very close with Punky.
No, I think he likes me better.
He's close with you too.
Hey, when I come over, who does he beg for the food from? Huh?
He's my best little boy, and people get a little surprised by that because I don't have the success with him that I've had with other dogs. But my levels of success with my dogs doesn't have anything to do with my relationship with them. Maybe in some cases, it's helped our routines and things like that, like with Muse, because I am close with Muse, or maybe Bon Bon is a good example where I am crazy close with her, and maybe that was able to help push us a little bit further ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of their success, that doesn't influence my relationship with them at all.
Well, that was like me and Blitz. I mean,
Right.
and in fact, Blitz to the point of like, I don't think I'd be a world champion with any of my other dogs if I didn't have Blitz. I mean, she's really like a big reason why the rest of my dogs had any success. And you know, kind of funny, this is a little off topic, but you know, when I was preparing with Torch for the finals, I always felt myself that I was under practice, but Torch had it together, and I didn't want to run him into the ground and practice, but I felt like I needed to play with the dog, not just practice the throws, to practice just me, but with a dog. But I can't run Torch on the ground. So actually, many times leading up to championships, I would practice Torch's routine with Blitz. And Blitz was the one out of all my dogs at the time that could do Torch's routine almost entirely. And it was very similar because, you know, for her, if I threw to Blitz and she caught it, I could be sure that Torch was going to catch it. So it gave me a really good feeling, like if I went out there and nailed Torch's routine with Blitz, that okay, this would probably have went well with Torch today, and I could feel that I practiced, but I was letting Torch rest like he needed to.
And who of all of your dogs, who would I always want to play with?
Blitz.
Yep.
She's fun.
And you would a lot of times give me choices. How you could play with anyone. Who do you want to play with?
Mm-hmm.
And I could make it really easy and play with Sketch because he's just going to catch everything, and he is really fun to play with.
And you were definitely best buddies with him too. So
yes. But there was this sort of level of entertainment and that I had with Blitz. She just tried so freaking hard and stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting off track.
We are getting off track. We'll reel it back in. We'll reel it back in. But I think that stuff is all worth mentioning, even if it's a little off the rails for the episode we're on. But let's rein it back in and get back to finding motivation to practice. As you can see, even if we try not to talk about dogs,
it's where it's always
we always go back to the dogs. So let's reel it back in.
So I'll just jump onto something real quick. That one of the things where I start having a difficulty with motivation is when I'm having injuries or just hurting, and it just gets really difficult for me sometimes to want to get out there, and whether it be do the physical training, whether it be running or hiking or that kind of stuff, or doing my stationary bike or an elliptical train or any of that kind of stuff, or practicing my throws if something's bothering me.
I have the same thing, and it's kind of like this weird balance of like, I don't want to make it worse, but I feel like I've got to practice some to keep, you know, everything level so that I don't just drop off completely. So I'm having that right now.
So something I can do, or that I do regularly, is, well, if one thing's bothering me, let's say like right now I'm having problems, I can't really run and hike and do that kind of stuff, but I can practice my throws. So I'm making myself go out there, practice my throws. I can't go running, but in the mornings I can walk the dogs a little bit. So I'm doing that. For whatever reason, the stationary bike is working for me, and I'm really happy about that because I can get on there and do that. There's still a motivation to do it, though. I mean, it's rough because it's not fun.
And the other thing is, like, sometimes when you feel like you're kind of half practicing, you feel like it's much easier to skip because you're like, it wasn't that big of a deal anyway.
Yeah. So whenever I do it,
that's like my physical therapy. Oh gosh, it's easy to skip because you're like, oh, it's so easy to do. Is it really going to make that much of a difference? But if you do it every day, it will. But you have to do it every day.
Whenever the therapy, I just did it. I just forced myself to do it. It's like a kid being forced to eat his vegetables or something like that. A lot of times it's like that for me. Whenever I do the stationary bike, it's actually not all that easy. It's a lot of work. The program I do right now just has to be 47 minutes, but it's 47 straight minutes of hard cycling. And I got one that's really good that simulates like going up hills and things like that, changes tension on you and everything. So it's actually really difficult. Whenever I'm done, I'm exhausted. I go full speed ahead. My heart rate's way up. And my motivation for it is comes back to the dogs where I got to be better for them. I got to be physically able to be out there with them and try to pull my own weight as best as I can. And that is always what the motivation comes down to, is that to be better for the dogs. And then I start seeing, in the future, okay, am I going to be good enough to win with them? Am I going to be able to be on the podium? Are we going to qualify for world championships? To do that, I got to put that work in ahead of time to get my body in some kind of shape. Even if it's not perfect, I'm going to do whatever I can. And if one thing's bothering me, I'll focus on the other. If when my elbow was screwed up or I tore my rotator cuff, I'd work more on doing leg training and things like that. And it was the same thing. Well, when my arm gets better, hey, my legs are going to be in good shape. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be conditioned.
Yeah, strengthen everything else.
And that's gonna work for me. So there's a little bit of where my motivation is coming from on those things. Even when I'm disappointed in myself or sad a little bit or depressed because, hey, I can't do everything that I want to do at the level I want to do, I'm doing what I can, and I'm still pushing along, and I'm seeing the results because I'm seeing, well, I've been practicing my throws a lot lately, and my throws are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And so that's helped me a lot.
I'm right there right now because my the injury that I have, like, that goes all down my back, that's basically the muscle that I need to throw toss and fetch well and straight and far, all of the good things. It's really bad right now. And it's like right before World Finals. And it's like, could we have worse timing of this? And it's like really bad, maybe worse it's ever been. And I'm like, oh, this really sucks. But I'm doing wrist exercises. I'm doing the physical therapy. I'm doing, I'm still practicing certain freestyle throws that don't aggravate it. I'm practicing, even though I'm not practicing my throws in toss and fetch, I'm roughing it. I'm going to practice with the dogs, even if it hurts, because that's the most important. And I'm working on their handoffs. I'm working on all the other pieces to make sure everything else is in line, so that hopefully competition day, maybe an Advil will take care of me, maybe it won't. But everything else will be in line. Yeah, that's really more like it. Yeah. Maybe I can just rub some aspirin cream balm on it or something, get away with it when the day comes. But, trying to just keep everything else with the train on the track so that I'm not totally going to fall off.
You're as close as you can possibly be in your current physical state. And something I would do whenever my right arm was jacked up for one reason or another, or my thumb, my elbow, and my shoulder. I've had issues with all of them, and most of those still bother me. The only thing that doesn't really bother me anymore is my shoulder. I tore my rotator cuff. That was probably the biggest injury I had to my shoulder, because for about a year I couldn't really use my arm much at all. And then it took about another year to kind of recover. But I would throw left-handed. I would go out there. I would do all of my freestyle throws left-handed. I'd be out there for 2 or 3 hours, just like I was doing right-handed, and do it all left-handed. I would do toss and fetch, everything. And my motivation was because, well, I'm seeing whenever I would work on those throws, I would see them being improved left-handed. And that's a little bit of a motivation. It's a motivating thing. It's like, I'm seeing improvement. I'm seeing it getting better, and I'm doing it just left-handed. So if I need to do these left-handed in my routine or whatever for any reason, or for toss and fetch, which I've done, I've thrown distance left-handed, guys, because I'm a right-handed person, just to be clear, but I've done all that stuff left-handed because I've had to from time to time. And then sometimes I've done it to save myself. Like, I don't really want to do distance right-handed because it's just something for fun that we've done a few times. We've done some distance events, and what I would do is I would go do it left-handed instead, and at least they were pretty respectable, even though maybe at the time I wasn't practicing my left-handed throws. All those years of working on it has helped a lot, and they do translate. Throwing left-handed, I start thinking about my throws, and when I'm doing that, well, when I get back into throwing right-handed, some of that knowledge and practice carries over, and when I start throwing right-handed, they would just look good right away,
Yeah.
And so it's muscle memory. Even if it's your offhand or whatever, it is muscle memory, and it helps.
Exactly. So
I'm keeping my head in the game, basically.
Yes, exactly. Well, I was gonna say, even the mental practice of it, the visualization and stuff. That's another form of practice that honestly you could do it anywhere.
Yes, and you have to have motivation for it, because you have to put the effort into it, and you have to focus on it. And we're not joking when we say we have sleepless nights. It's because we're constantly, we could be running through our routine. We could be running through our throwing form, our schedule of how we're going to work this rest of the week with the dogs and with training ourselves and everything like that. And the motivation is that you're going to have a plan and you're going to have better visualization, but you're going to have some lack of sleep maybe.
Yeah, I found it easier to visualize when I wasn't as busy. Like my whole life wasn't like quite as busy. And now that it's so busy, I feel like I have to like carve it out in my schedule, which is ridiculous. Like sounds so stupid.
Yeah. And for me, I guess I had done so many years of that visualization stuff and the lack of sleep from it that I actually try to avoid it. I rarely do visualization, like if I'm laying down and getting ready to go to bed, because I know
I don't do it anymore when I'm getting ready to go to bed because I'll be up all night.
Right, and so I don't do it anymore. But all those years of doing it, it did help. I mean, I figured out my throws mostly just through thinking about them, how to throw properly.
Right.
Thinking about my arm motion and my shoulder and my hips and elbow and hands and everything. But doing that countless nights for decades, basically, it helped. And but now I just cut it off. If those thoughts start creeping in, or I start thinking about that stuff, I just cut it off, and I'm like, I can't think about this right now. So I'll think about it more when we're traveling to World Finals. I'll be thinking about my routines.
Yeah, there's a reason I like driving.
Yeah,
I'll have 3 days.
A lot of free time
driving back east to think about it.
You got nothing else to do, but there's a lot of motivation to do that because it is going to help you. It's going to keep you sharp, especially with your routine. I think for freestyle, your routine especially, I don't do it too much with my own dogs anymore, but I do it with pairs with your dogs, or when we're doing pairs with my dogs as well. It really helps me to just really think about that, because half of it you're doing and half of it I'm doing. So it's not as natural. It's not just like my own routine where I just know it. It's a lot different because I have to visualize, okay, what are you going to be doing at this moment? As soon as we finish a sequence, where do you tend to move? And I got to really think about those things because they're not natural for me because you're doing them.
Yeah. And who knows what I'm going to do. And when I forget the routine, you're like, we gotta be ready I thought you were going to go that way.
Yeah. we got to be ready to support each other.
Yeah.
And if I'm not visualizing
yell at each other, you're doing it wrong. No.
If I'm not visualizing it ahead of time, I don't know how much help I'm going to be to you in the routine if something comes up.
Right.
Because almost every time we have a routine, we're asking each other stuff or telling each other stuff, and it's constant reinforcement. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about that with the pairs in the pairs podcast. Check that out, because that was a lot of what we focus on there, was how we help each other during the routine. And it's all the time. Even if she already knows what's happening, she appreciates me saying, hey, we're doing this next.
Yeah.
Or you saying it to me.
Just so we make sure we're on the same page.
We're never, really I know you didn't have to tell me. We're never like that. It's always, yep, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Or it's like, sometimes it's like, I got a brain fart here, it's
like you said, the relevant sequence, and it's like you're skipping one, and it's like shoot, and then you like revert. As long as you're on the same page, even if you do it all out of order, that's fine, but most importantly, you've got to be on the same page.
So again, we're talking about motivation here. There's a lot of motivation for me to visualize those routines so that we're able to have a seamless routine when we're out there and to help each other.
So this is almost in line with pairs in a way. So, one of the motivating factors for me, a big motivating factor, probably always has been, and I've mentioned this story before, is that time that you were on the podium at like one of our local events and I wasn't, and I was like, what the heck? He can't be beating me. So having a training partner, I think, is a huge motivating factor.
Yes. Oh, God, do we push each other?
Yes.
I think anyone at competitions, just seeing us, how we compete, and when we're together and we're talking about it, we just push each other.
And if you go lay it down, it's like, oh, okay, I got to beat that. Or if you screw it up, it's like, no matter what happens, like if you nail it, that's like setting the bar. I'm like, okay, I got to beat that. If you screw it up, then I'm like, oh, dude, we're sucking today. Somebody's got to pick up the slack.
Well, you'll also say something like, hey, you got to be better. You got to pick yourself up, and you got to continue. You got to be better.
What do I tell you?
Doing. Don't suck.
Yeah, that's right. And what do you say?
And
Can you say that on the
I don't know.
podcast? We're gonna have to start getting a bleep, like American Idol, how they'd cover the mouth and do like a bleep.
Nut
the
up.
logo.
That's the theme this year. Nut
like
up.
peanut butter. So
yes,
anyway,
like peanut butter.
a dog's favorite. So anyway, having a training partner. So not only at the competitions, but if you have a training partner to practice with too, it's like the amount of times that did I want to go do the 6 mile run at Peters Canyon when it was like 80 degrees? Did I want to go do that? No. And then you're like, let's go.
But I was ready to go.
You're like, let's go. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And then there's these times where I'm dead tired. I'm thinking about taking a nap. And I get a message, let's go hike. And I can't really do that right now. I got some injuries that just really keep me from doing much of that. But
we're going to have to get you a wagon or a scooter or something.
It's just yesterday. Hey, let's go practice with the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, had you not done that, I wouldn't even have been out there that day.
We would have practiced pairs too. If somebody had forgotten their vest.
Well, we did practice pairs. Pairs DA.
Okay.
So we did do some pairs, but yeah, I did forget my vest.
Kidding.
So we couldn't do some of the other stuff.
Whatever.
But that is motivating, and that's pushing me because she was ready to go, and I just said, "Yep, let's do it." So otherwise, I wouldn't even have been out there at all doing anything that day. So, and that's happened hundreds of times between us, one or the other.
Yeah,
hey,
a lot of times,
let's go. Let's meet. Let's
when we meet up, sometimes you'll be practicing something. I'm like, ooh. Like, if you start practicing handoffs, I'm like, ooh, maybe I should revisit that. Or I see something that you're doing, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should think about
absolutely.
Doing that. Or I forgot about that.
Just when I got Cheeky as a puppy, I hadn't had a puppy in a long time. I mean, the last one was Punky. So that was
little puppy,
little baby. That was 8 years ago. And I saw you just sitting there doing multiples with her. And it just hit me. I said, you've said it right then and there. I said, I need to do more of that because I kind of forgot about doing that kind of.
And then that gives you motivation because you're like, oh yeah, I got something to train.
Exactly. And I saw how well she was improving with you just in that one session. And then I rolled with it. So that gave me motivation. Again, motivation to practice, to practice with Cheeky to lots of really quick rapid fire discs. She hadn't been seeing that. Yep.
And I think even if you don't have a training partner that's lives close enough near you, I mean, I think online now
messaging.
you can message back and forth,
send videos. Hey, check out this thing. We do that all the time. Look at this new trick that I'm doing.
Yeah, and there's a couple people that I do consult besides you with some videos and say, what do you think of that?
But and a lot of this, when we do these kinds of things, you got to understand this is just between the person that you're sharing it with. Don't be putting other people's videos online because this is a new trick they're developing. They might want to debut it at the World Championships or whatever, and they. That is a thing that just keep that in mind if you're sharing videos.
Sure.
When you send a video to someone, it's just between you two, and but it becomes a really good tool for us to use.
And you get feedback on it. It's like, oh, maybe that trick wasn't as cool as I thought, or wait, maybe that trick is way cooler. Like you've pointed out some stuff that I did that I didn't think was that impressive, and you're like, that's like really, really cool. So then I thought, well, maybe I should just keep that in the routine then, even though I was gonna maybe take it out.
And there's motivation. See, motivation to improve and maybe keep something or
even if you're not talking directly. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all over the place that you can watch and see like other skills, and I think that's a motivating factor. Like, okay, I want to play like that, or I want to be able to do this trick or move like that.
I think whenever I first saw Pon Saradeth throw, my jaw hit the floor, and I had no idea a frisbee could be thrown like that with that quality. It looked beautiful to me. I mean, just watching the disc in the air, I couldn't believe it. And then immediately my motivation was, I want to try to be the best thrower in the world. And and you could say with anything, like I want to be a world champion. That's my motivation. You may not ever get to those kinds of things, and to say that you're the best at something or whatever, that's all subjective anyways. But to have the idea in your head that I want to try to become the best thrower in the world, or at least be the best thrower that I can be, push myself to the absolute limit of my abilities, and and to at least try to do it, something to strive for. That was such motivation for me. I mean, seeing how he threw, it was amazing. I mean, you've seen him throw.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to be able to do that.
Yep.
And then all of the other good things come with that, because when you're able to throw like that, winning starts happening. The dogs start catching everything. You start looking better out there. The dog starts looking better. All of those things come with it, and that's all part of that motivation. And all of that came from me just seeing Pawn. It was like his very first throw he did. And then I was just obsessed with wanting to be able to throw like that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I think, like, for me, if I'm judging freestyle, that's kind of, I tend to get motivation by watching it, because I almost get a little bit of FOMO, like, oh shoot, I'd rather actually be out there competing right now than judging. And I'm like, oh man, I want to like join in.
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of motivation. I've said this many times. I think I've said it on the podcast, that when I judged you with sketch one of the times early on, I mean, I'd seen you play so many times, but whenever I was judging, I really had to watch all the details. And whenever I did that, I had so much motivation for Toonie, because I'm like, whatever Sketch was doing, Toonie could do that stuff, because I didn't know what to do with Toonie. I wanted to do, all kinds of crazy trick throws and flips and dog catches and stuff that she wasn't so into. I wanted to do all of those things, and it wasn't right for her. And I knew that. So, I didn't have the motivation for it to do something different until I saw you. And whenever I saw your routine, I loved it. And I was just like, this is so good. How do I not like this? I don't understand this. Like, this is absolutely what I want to do with Toonie. And then instantly we became a good freestyle team because it was just my mentality.
Yeah.
I didn't have the motivation to do that with her. And now since then, I've always done whatever my dog wants to do. I'm motivated.
Well, you find the style that fits.
I find whatever it is, and I'm okay. Where I was trying to do the square hole and round peg kind of thing, it wasn't working, and I just didn't I didn't really want to do that type of routine with her until I saw it and realized I liked it.
So I'll bring up something that motivates me that probably doesn't relate to you so much because you don't practice with music. I always have the earbuds in. So music is part of a motivating factor for me. And in fact, I try to find songs that I think, make me want to go out and like play freestyle or, throw or get my energy up. And I think that's something that I look forward to making practice a little bit more fun, like without the dog, obviously, is listening to music and finding new music to throw into my throwing playlist.
Okay.
I think cool. that's something that I like. Yeah. I don't know. You probably don't have a whole lot to say on that.
No, the only thing just with music is that, especially before, I would get very OCD over trying to find the right song with freestyle. And then I would just be listening to all kinds of stuff and revisiting old songs. Well, what about this album?
Yeah, me too.
Isn't there something good on there? I got to listen to the whole album. I can't remember which song it was or whatever. And so that added motivation because I'm constantly thinking about freestyle with the dogs,
right?
And in those songs, because we've talked about music before, and we're both kind of crazy into music. We love music, so that's just adds more motivation to Frisbee, is the love for the music. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't do it that way.
Yeah,
but the only thing I would do is typically whenever I come out with a new song with the dog, I would at least do it a few times with the dog. And
like a speaker,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't do buds or
no,
like that, but I would do a speaker. So that added to my motivation to, the music does just add to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think, what's interesting, like kind of a weird motivating thing to me is that, like me getting the RV, I think helped boost my motivation again, because I sort of was getting sick of going to the park in the heat and my elements air conditioning not very good. So even though that's kind of an odd one, I feel like that was sort of a motivating factor for me to be like, okay, the park trip is going to be a lot easier, because when a lot of times when I go to the park to practice, it's sort of an event because I'm there for a while. If I'm going to play with the dogs and then do throwing and that sort of thing, it could be a little daunting to be like, okay, I got to leave. I'm going to be gone from the house for like 2.5 hours. And it's going to be physically exhausting.
Yeah.
And if it's hot today or something like that, then you're like, oh gosh, I'm going to have to be outside for a long time, and it's going to be, maybe physically challenging. So I think that kind of helped my motivation and helping ease any of those roadblocks that sort of prevent you from getting out of your chair and skedaddling your little booty out to the car and going to play. Because now I'm sure some people listening can practice in their yards, but both of us in Southern California do not have a big enough yard to practice in. Well, yours is a little bigger.
I could do freestyle.
You could do some, but it's not a full like competition freestyle that you would.
No, it's really funny because Jen would always say that whenever I would go out to the competitions and she would see my routine, she couldn't understand how the routine I did in the yard became that one on the field, on the big field. She said to her, it was like a completely different thing, and it was way better on the big field because now I'm throwing longer throws and I have much better disc management because I got time to pick up discs and all that kind of stuff. And she would always be very impressed by like, wow, I mean, it's amazing how much better it looks, and she had no idea that was my vision too.
Right.
But she gets to see it basically at competition and hardly ever gets to really see it like in practice as much.
Yep.
So, yeah. So I have another motivating kind of thing. And this has to do with kind of like going to world championships, winning, having success and things like that. One of the things I do in practice is a little bit of putting myself like in those game situations. So it could be something like having like a timer countdown, or at least in my mind, a timer countdown. And what if the dog drops it and then takes off running and I might have to pick up the disc off the ground? So I'll throw myself into those kinds of situations because I live for those 2 seconds are left and I'm ready to get my hand on the disc for the last toss and fetch throw.
Yeah, we know. We've seen it. We've seen you do that like a zillion times and you nail it every time.
I live for all of that. The top 10 come out and you're going reverse to first and you're hearing the scores and you're seeing the players go before you. And I'm watching, like last year in sport division, I'm seeing people getting 25s and 27s in the final round.
Yeah.
And they're crushing it. And then
I'm on the sideline and I'm like adding them up. I'm like, Jeff, you need this number to win. You need this.
And as each player's coming up, their scores from the previous rounds were bigger, and then they're getting even better scores now, and all the pressure and everything. I live for that. I just love it. So in practice, I sort of give myself a little bit of motivation by trying to live some of those moments a little bit. It also helps me when I do get to finals, the pressure that's there and the nerves and things like that. It's not the same in practice, but I've practiced a little bit. I have my dog, and I imagine this is our final round. And if we nail it right now, we win the world championship. And I go out there and I try to play as if I was at the finals. The people there, all the commotion, the announcers, inviting you on the field. I try to imagine all those things. I try to imagine some scenarios with if the handoff's not quite right. That's when I'm practicing alone by myself. My throws, I will do some of those. I will do where I just grab a disc off the ground and throw it really quick. That'll simulate if the dog dropped it, or like a handoff where we only got a couple seconds left. So I get motivation to put myself into those stressful situations, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And so that I'm also prepared for them, so that when I get into it, it's not as much of a surprise. And can't mimic it exactly, of course, but I try to do a little bit. And I have this motivation to get myself into a position where I'm going to be under pressure with a chance to win at the end of the event. And I have all the motivation in the world to do that. And I go out and I practice it. And just practicing in general to be able to go out there and showcase my dog and myself as best as I possibly can.
Yep. Same thing. So I have another thing that motivates me as well. And I feel like anytime I'm going really far away for competition or internationally, anything where it's like a giant hurdle that I'm going to have to go to this event, like it's a big ordeal. It's such a pain to travel sometimes, especially internationally, all the preparation that you have to do with the dog paperwork and just so much stuff. I feel like that motivates me to want to practice more, because I'm like, okay, I'm going through all of this craziness to get there. I want to at least, feel like we did a good job of representing ourselves. If we're going to go all that way, I don't want to go all that way and be upset that I didn't play, at least to a reasonable level, or, what I feel is good.
Right. Yeah. And that's an interesting point, because that is something I mentioned on one of the podcasts. I think it's for people getting into the sport, maybe something like that. My advice had always been, if someone who's going to their first finals, I always tell them, prepare, really be prepared for it, because make it worthwhile. Make it so that you're glad that you went, and hopefully you will have your best rounds of your life, because you're the most prepared that you've ever been, especially your first few finals. And I can honestly say I did that myself. I was thinking, man, first time I went to some of these events, I remember traveling. I spent one night and traveled, I don't know if is it like 3,000 miles to go to Georgia from here, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's something like 20 hours of driving each day, or, 18 hours of driving each day. And I spent only one night. I mean, I just punished myself because I didn't have enough vacation and things like that. But I went through all that and suffered and everything, and had my best rounds I ever had in my life. Rang the bell. I was at USDDN, rang the bell in my toss and fetch with Enzo, who was a notoriously bad toss and fetch dog. And yet my focus beforehand and all the practice and everything paid off. So it is, you need to have that
and all
motivation.
That suffering, the driving part
and
was worth it, wasn't it?
It was all worth it. And I was actually dreading a lot leading up to it, thinking, I gotta do all this travel. What if it's not worth it? What if
we're talking about this right now, and it's like, that's what I feel like I'm doing, because I'm preparing to leave for a long time to travel in the RV, and I'm like getting all of this stuff, like going down the checklist, or have everything.
Yeah. So if you're going to your first World Championships, your second, or any big event, make it worthwhile. Put that should be your motivation, that you're going to try to have your best rounds you've ever had at that World Finals. And then next year, when you go to some World Finals, you do the same thing. Have that same motivation to try to do better than you did the year before. So have even more motivation and more practice. And that should be your motivation, is that when you get there, it was so worth it. And then you feel good about yourself that you hopefully couldn't have done any better. I mean, that's the ideal situation.
Right.
So that has been a huge motivator for me as well. Because I don't see any point going unless you're completely prepared. Why even bother? Why spend the money if it's in your backyard? And
I'm with you on that, but I do have the feeling that I'm never prepared enough. I've never gone into a competition feeling 100% prepared. I always have this little bit of edge, like, maybe it's not 100%. I always have a little bit. Well,
you probably were 100% prepared. You just felt like you weren't. You're just worried about something that you shouldn't be worried about. True. But I could honestly say pretty much everything I've ever gone to, especially when traveling, I have been prepared as much as I possibly could be. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone. And that's why sometimes I don't go. I'm not ready for that. Well, I'm not going.
and the other thing to keep in mind too is, like, you say that, but also when a lot of the finals, with us being in California, a lot of the finals are very far from us, unless they pretty much have it in California. Yep. Like UFO will be in California this year, so we're lucking out with that. But a lot of times the finals are back east. Like USCDN a lot of times has been in Georgia or Missouri, and Skyhounds is always in Tennessee. So, I mean, it's
several days each.
It's going
each way
to be
driving.
a minimum of 25 hours to get to wherever we're going. Yeah. I mean, we're lucky if it's in Colorado and we can it's only 16 hours away, but that doesn't happen that often. So, so you say that, but at the same time, how far we have to travel is maybe not as far as some other people that, like, if you live back east in the United States, right. If it's 2 hours from your house, then, maybe you might as well go
and not worry about
whatever. It's close. It's not, there's no sacrifice, right? But yeah, when you have to drive 3 days there and 3 days back and
and an insane amount of money just on fuel and everything like that. And
You do have, it does definitely give you a little bit of a different perspective
Yep.
When you have to travel from very far away. And, it's one of the reasons I really respect a lot of the international players that fly over, because I've done it. I've, been to Europe, been to Japan, been all over. And it's such a hassle. It is such a hassle to go all over the place. And so I, whether it's driving, flying, all of that, I have so much respect for those people that are motivated enough to say, I'm going to do the big trip. So I hear you.
So I think, for you to get a little bit of motivation, if you see me there, I am prepared. So your motivation for anyone who's listening or watching,
I'm not.
That, I'm prepared. You got to keep yourself prepared, because I'm going to come out there to win. That's why I'm there. So that's motivation for everyone else, right? It's true.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's true.
Well,
that is motivation, because
so mine could be that I'm not prepared, and that you have a good opportunity because Kirby doesn't feel prepared.
And then she comes out and wins. So then what's that mean? You're not even prepared and you're winning? What does that mean?
We'll see. Maybe one day I'll feel prepared. Probably not anytime soon. Maybe when I retire, I'll feel prepared. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover? Or was
no,
that
I think that was it. You have to find your motivation. No one's going to do it for you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like practicing. You have to do it yourself. It's just hard work. And getting that motivation to practice, which is the main thing we're really talking about. Mm-hmm. You have to find whatever that is. And there's so many different things. But number one is just so that you can be good for your dog. And then anything else past that, I had motivation for throwing really good. I like
You're
that aspect.
You're kind of a motivated person in general.
Yeah, if there's something I'm into.
Which has sort of helped drag me out of the slumps a little bit. So find yourself a motivated friend. That's the cheat code, guys.
It could be to win. It could be just to qualify. It could be just to be able to go out and do demos and do shows and be, confident.
I like to think of it maybe not as much of a result piece for me, only because I can't control what the other people do, and I can't control what the judges do. But I find it, for me, motivating more have one miss or less in freestyle, or get 5 catches in toss and fetch, or, get 5 pointers. I mean,
yeah, and I've had those. I remember one year I had a goal, and my motivation was that I did not want to have a single toss and fetch throw short of the line. Like if it's a 40-yard throw or whatever, most organizations are 40-yard for the furthest zone. I wanted to go the entire year without a single one in any competition. I didn't make it. I think I had only 2 though, but I got pretty darn close. But I had some motivation. That was a little bit of something just to kind of kick me a little bit.
So you can kind of make up goals to set.
Right.
Set you on a path to be motivated. Yes. That's for sure.
Yes. And my general thing was that throwing. I wanted my throws to look so good, and it had nothing to do with anyone else that was doing it out there. It was in my mind of how my throws looked, and I wanted them to be awesome.
Yep.
And I just kept working on it. I don't know if they became awesome, but I tried. I tried my absolute best to have awesome throws.
They're okay. They're all right.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps up this episode. And if you're not motivated to practice yet, I don't know what'll motivate you. So, so if this could be your kick in the butt, go out there and start practicing. Get your throws down.
Thanks for joining us. This has been
the Disc Dog Pod. Oh, look, we got it. Bye.